Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GameBytes Show. Yet again, another video podcast for your visual pleasure, coming at you at least once a week. I am your host, Jared Red-Eye Dunn, and I'm joined today by my trusty sidekick and my space partner, Jeremy Lamont. Hello. Oh, I think our audio cut out. Oh, good. Yeah, it's not a GameBytes podcast without some ridiculous technical issue. So let's see if we can't patch this up. Oh, hard shutdown. Can you hear me? Oh, weird.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you not hear me anymore?
Waka waka waka.
Okay.
Starting off that GameBytes show with a sweet, sweet technical error. Can't hear anything that's going on the other side, though. Maybe I can hear it through the stream. Maybe it's just on my end.
Hold on. Test. Now can you hear me? Why is it cut out? What voice recordings is... Now can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. We Kerbal Space Program. Let's get started.
It's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome. This is a mere taste of what is to come.
So let's hope that is our only glitch and our space flights go off without error.
It's totally gonna happen that way. There's no way it won't.
As long as we remember to pack the parachutes, I think we'll be okay. Or fuel to return. I mean, these are some of the issues that you're likely to encounter in Kerbal Space Program. So Kerbal Space Program, I actually hadn't planned to stream this tonight, but I had completely neglected over all these years now that I've been playing this game to play this on the stream. I feel really bad. This is like one of my favorite games of all time.
You talk about it all the time, and it's weird that this is the first time that we're actually going to see you play it.
You can see how disappointed Jeb is. So Kerbal Space Program is kind of an interesting story. So this game is, if you're not aware, is a let's just call it a space exploration game, I guess. Space sandbox, but it's not like space like you think of like Elite Dangerous or even like something like us in the Star Trek or Star Wars world. This is space like as in the space programs that we know and love today. So you've got chemical rockets, eventually nuclear rockets and ion and electric and all that fun stuff. But basically modern type technology, sending people out into space, using gravity of orbiting bodies to move around and everything. So it actually has this really neat way of teaching you a lot about sort of space travel and physics while being fun. So it started off as a Kickstarter. I'm sorry, not a Kickstarter, an early access. Even before Kickstarter, you just go to the webpage and bought it. And to me, it's like exactly how a early access game should have progressed. So we're going to go ahead and call ourselves GameBytes here because that's who we are. And I even had the forethought to make ourselves a GameBytes flag. How nifty is that? So no. move over, NASA. We are the GameBytes space program. What could possibly go wrong? But okay, before I go on about its origins, let's kind of flip through the modes real quick because we're probably going to start with Sandbox just because I want to show off some of the features quickly in our 30 minutes. But really the meat, the enjoyment out of this game you're probably going to find is this career, and this is one of the last things they added just before going live with version 1.0. But there's a couple of modes. There's Sandbox, so this is exactly what you expect it to be. All the parts that are available are instantly available. There's no money. You're basically limited by weight, the forces of nature, and your imagination. Science, there's no money, but essentially you have to do science in order to unlock tier like technology. You have to like upgrade your technology tree as you go. which is kind of originally how they rolled this out. And then career. So career is really fascinating because they took the science aspect, that sort of unlocked progression, and they added in funding and reputation. So you actually have to be economical in your rockets and accept missions. You'll get missions to, launch a sounding rocket at X feet, or put a probe into space and land it again. All these different things that you can accept as missions, go and earn the money, but you have to be careful that you're not spending more money than you're earning. So it's really fascinating.
So I've heard a lot about this. What is the? Let's get into it and show me the actual ins and outs of building a space rocket to go to the moon.
So
let's
we probably will not get to the moon, and that is MUN in this game. In our short time here, it has actually been a little while since I played this game, unfortunately. But essentially, you start out here, and when you're in full career mode, I believe you even have to upgrade all of these. I could be totally wrong. I've actually been watching a few YouTube videos, a series that I really like of this game. And one other thing I should mention...
Don't worry, everybody. I've watched a YouTube series.
We're good. DIY, baby. One thing that's really important to mention about this game is it has incredible mod support. So you can add new rockets, new parts, you can add it changes physics, you can change the planet to be Earth-like, and I think you can even turn your Kerbals into humans. So it's got everything you could want. So if you're a big into modding community, this would actually be a great game if you want to start learning to mod. Like if that's something you kind of want to dig your teeth into, I seriously recommend go pick up this game. You can change just about anything about it. So this is basic. So this is basically where we're going to start off, and this is the vertical assembly building. So there's actually, I don't know if you guys probably didn't see it. There's several buildings out here. There's two places you can build spacecraft, so to speak. Anyway, so there's a vertical assembly building here where you're going to build your stationary launch from a pad rockets, and then you've got your hangar over here where you're going to build your space planes. And you can actually explore this entire planet with both rockets and space planes, and unlock science. So if you're unlocking science in career mode, you can get science by, say, flying over to the poles and taking, quote, EVA samples. You can land on the North Pole, take a sample, and return it for science. So that's fascinating. That this is the Kerbal Society. This is it. This is all they've developed. They have not ventured past this peninsula.
That's pretty impressive. It's a very vertical strata. Like the one thing their society is built upon is creating a space center.
I like to imagine there's this massive underground colony of these little green men. So we're going to start off in the vertical assembly building because everyone loves rockets. They're these crazy contraptions we decided were a good idea. And so you can start off with all kinds of cockpits. You can do Stay-Putnik. You can do probes. These are like unmanned stuff. And all of it's very silly, very ham and fist. These guys are just goofy little green men. So let's do a Mark 1-2 command pod. So let's just do the Mark 1 command pod. So this is what you're going to think of as being your basic, Mercury era single seat, limited capacity command pod. So we're going to put that in there. And really, other than having some sort of command pod, everything else is totally optional. We could actually roll this out to the launch pad and launch it. Now, we won't get very far. It will literally just sit there. But that's all that's really required. I love that right there. Oh, that looks so good. So let's see. What do we want to do here? We should probably keep it simple. Here's our fuel tanks. One thing that's important to... We're going to go big. We're going to go deep in our first mission, which probably means we're going to die horribly. But we're going to go for it. So, you've got all these parts. They've listed them here. You can sort them by mass. Mass is super important. You can sort them by cost and size. Size is important when you start considering things like this. Obviously, that would be an awful rocket design. There are aerodynamics to keep in mind. Whereas something like this probably makes more sense. But we don't want to do that yet, because I want to do not a docking ring. Where did they hide those at? Command and control, reaction wheel, maybe it's structural. So what I'm looking for is, stack decoupler. So when I land this bad boy, I want to go full on, just like you would do it in the Mercury program, and we're going to put a decoupler right there. So what this is going to do is this is going to allow us to get everything off of this pod that's below it. So this is what...
There are a ton of parts. I just want to say...
There's super tons of parts. You can build space stations. In fact, the time I was playing before this, many months ago, essentially all I was doing was trying to build this ridiculous network of space stations and like link them all up. It was crazy. So I was having to launch them up kind of piece by piece, because you really do start to get limited by size and weight of what you can build. So I'd have these massive rockets with these big fairings housing these like space station components that would unfold out in space. You can do these struts that connect it for strength, all kinds of stuff. It's really crazy, guys. Love this game. So we need a fuel tank. We probably don't need a big fuel tank here. Basically, you need something for kind of like a last stage deorbit type thing. We're going to need an engine. Oh, I don't want to jet.
So you can add and mix and match without. I mean, it doesn't look like there's any cost for this. I mean, like you said, there's no money.
Right now in this sandbox mode, there is no money. So in the career mode, this sound looks good. The career mode, there's absolutely money. So you're going to want to very consciously choose parts. So you can actually see there is cost down there at the bottom left. And there's actually weight too. So you can look at all of this and look at its efficiency. In space, you're going to want lower thrust but higher impulse. I might have that backwards. Anyway, there's kind of some methods to the madness between the different engines that you'll want some on launch, but are better in basically atmospheric effects, whereas the lower thrust but higher impulse will actually move you better in space. So there's I believe that's correct.
This is too much science. So let me ask you a question.
Amazing.
So how long does it take to iterate on? I mean, how long does it go between deciding I'm going to try this part and launching and seeing how long it takes to crash and burn?
So we're gonna flip together a real quick rocket. No. Yes.
Like, I just want to, if I'm, just say hypothetically, I am Mr., how outer space. If I were just to put a rocket on this and try and shoot it to the moon, what's going to happen?
You might not get to the moon, but you actually might get further than you think. They really do simplify it quite a bit, particularly if you start off in, say, career mode. I don't know why I'm going to make this bottom first stage so big, but we're going to do it. If you start off with, like the career mode, you don't get all these parts to begin with. You get much fewer parts. So that's something I really recommend you start there. Why am I being so daft here? Where is my correct size parts? I don't want the fuselage. Oh yeah, there's multiple pages too. So.
Jeez.
All right, yeah, that's probably big enough, I think. Okay, let's put an engine on here. No, too big. Dang. No, too small. So. Surely there we go. Yeah, that looks like a big engine. So one thing I've actually forgotten to do, which is really super critical that we need to do right away. First, we need a couple of RCS thrusters. So they have a couple of cool tools. I don't know if you're seeing me flipping on symmetry mode over here. You can also do angle snap. So what this will do is I just selected 4. I don't want to have to place each one of these. That would be ridiculous. We're going to pop some of these here. Now what's important to remember here is this is my decoupler ring. So once I jettison this, I will lose the capability to basically steer beyond my reaction wheels. So I need the...
So you have to plan ahead a little bit.
Well, yes. You should plan ahead.
Completely.
So I think...
So in the chat we have a question about... so in the modes where you do have to expand and build your repertoire of parts, what's the R&D process like? I mean, is it just a matter of having money and unlocking something?
Yeah, you basically... you add science. So here's some science experiments. There's not many. You can actually add more with mods. But so we could add a thermometer, right? Basic science experiment. We only need one. So let's pop this here. And what this will do is when we go up, we will be able to trigger this. It won't let me do it in the hangar, but we'll be able to trigger that to say collect this science. And if it's in a new area that we haven't collected this type of data before, it will collect the data and we can store it. Or if we put an antenna on here, which I believe is in command and control. It's in here somewhere, utility probably. You can put an antenna on so you can broadcast it back if, say, you're doing a probe that isn't going to return. Or, you know, if you plan on returning your vehicle, you can store it on board and return it that way. And essentially once you get enough science, say you unlock 50 science in a mission and the next tier is 100 science, you do it again, you do a second mission, you unlock 50 more. Now you can unlock the next set of rocket parts. And the rocket parts are kind of grouped in some logical fashion. Like you might unlock winglets in one, you know, a set of winglets in one, or which we're actually going to add. Did these have control surfaces? Yeah, perfect. So you may unlock those. You may unlock decouplers. You may unlock, you know, you may do one that has command and control and has bigger antennas and stuff like that. So it really kind of walks you through in a very easygoing way, in my opinion. It's much simpler to start off there. So here's the one thing we've completely neglected to add that we need to get on right away: a parachute. So re-entry.
Oh, you want these people to make it back alive?
Typically, your Kerbal likes to return. Just typically.
So do you have penalties if you don't pull this off?
You'll lose all your science data, which is kind of a drag. So we're gonna add these like little launching tower things to hold on to it while we launch. You know, I think we're probably pretty good here. This rocket will get us into space. I don't know how far into space it'll get. One thing that is important to remember is once you get into space, you're going to want to be able to get back. So we got to be careful that we don't zoom too far, that we just absolutely can't return. The other thing that I don't believe is even in the career mode is there's no like supply, oxygen, anything like that. So really your Kerbal, if you get him stuck in lunar orbit, you could go rescue him. There's no penalty. You can mod in things like oxygen and crew supplies and stuff like that, so you would be limited by time. So another thing we need to look at before we go launch, and we're going to call this the indieBYTES Express Mark 1, and we're going to save it because it's amazing. But another thing we need to look at... It's beautiful. It is beautiful, isn't it? Another thing we need to look at here...
It's beautiful. Launch it.
Well, so before we get too overzealous here, sir,
I'm so excited.
We need to look at staging. So staging is really important because if you have your staging set up wrong, you'll kill your astronaut. So like right now, our staging is set up so that it's going to release these docking clamps, allowing our rocket to fall back to Earth onto this massive, expensive, very explosive engine before the engine itself starts. So I don't really want that. Actually, you know what? I'm probably going to have the engine fire first. And we'll get a little thrust going, and then we can release the clamps. The other thing we're going to do here looks good, so we can decouple before we fire our engine, and then we'll decouple before we fire our parachute. So this looks good. Let's save, and let's roll it out. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
My first space flight. I'm so happy. All my life has led up to this point. Nothing can go wrong.
Everything could go wrong.
You're the wind beneath my wings.
So here we're out on the launch pad. The other thing they added pretty late in the development of this game was all of this stuff is actually destructible. So you got to be careful not to blow up your vehicle assembly building. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to turn on some of these control assists, stability assist. Everything's looking good. You can turn these things on or off. This is the most important feature, in my opinion, right here during launch. And you really need to kind of have some... Oh dear, I clicked off the screen. Oh dear, okay, come back to me. Okay, you need to have some basic idea of how launch physics works. So we're going to go up, we're going to get some altitude, but really, in order to get to orbit, you're not really too much worried about altitude as you are vertical speed. So probably at about, I don't know, 7,000 or 8,000, we're going to start a nice slow bank. So let's kick this off. Let's get some thrust going. Yes! And we're airborne. Hey, look at our little flag as we valiantly sail off into the night sky. The day sky. It'll be night soon enough.
The sky. It's always night.
And so you can see Jebediah is having a time of his life. Hey, you know what? We could do science right now. Let's log that temperature. So we've already got this science, so that does no good.
Oh, man.
So I'm going to back off on our thrust a little bit, because we're doing pretty good. I don't want to get too fast here. You can actually break up your larger vehicle. You can actually tear it apart. Okay, you can go away. If you go too fast, so you want to kind of watch that. You kind of want to watch your G-forces, which are looking pretty good here. You're also more efficient at lower thrust. So you can see we're burning our fuel down here. Slowly burning our fuel. You can actually get more detail on your fuel here. You can see we're doing okay evenly. So you can actually run out of oxidizer before you run out of fuel, or vice versa. You know what? I totally goofed. We should have been turning already. So we're gonna...
I mean, technically, direction is all relative in outer space, so you're
well, so this planet has spin, so you don't want to get too crazy trying to go weird directions, but you can launch into polar orbits if you so choose. Alright, so we're going to get up here. We're going to try to get to some speed. You can see our altitude is looking pretty good. We're climbing up out of the atmosphere. I'm not really sure why that parachute's red. That makes me a little nervous. We got to watch our altitude, make sure we continue to gain altitude. Here's another important view, is we can start to see our parabolic arc here. Actually, no, we're doing very bad. We have passed our apoapse, so we're now losing altitude. So we need to get up, and we need to give it some more thrust. Let's give it all the thrust. Alright, we're going back up, guys. We're doing good.
Yeah. So what would be in your cassette deck as you're flying into outer space? I'm pretty sure... I'd probably be playing some David Bowie right about now.
I'd be a little nervous that we're having some atmospheric effects on our rocket. Just
so
to
the
start.
Weather Girls then. Atmospheric effects.
Yes.
Raining Men.
So we probably won't make it to space on this launch, but that's okay. We'll recover Jebediah and we can try again. We just blew up. So you can see.
Oh. Oh man.
Not the best launch. But Jebediah will be remembered for his contribution to this program. Thank you, Jebediah.
So what exactly, why did we explode? Was it just because of fire?
So you can actually find out. So the first thing that blew up was our thermometer, which probably should have been a good warning. However, it only blew up 1 second before our parachute and then our command pod, and then our guy died. So we can actually kind of cheat mode that and say, you know what, that was dumb. We probably shouldn't have been so dumb. You can pop right back to here. So Mr. Jebediah is back with us, back in the land of the living. Congratulations, Mr. Jebediah. We'll try it again. Now, that would be a good time as any. You could also flip back to, you could revert the flight and go back to the vehicle assembly building and say, you know what, I probably should have redesigned this, or added parachutes, or added RCS, or added a bigger engine, or et cetera, and so forth, and so forth. So we're going to give this one more go. We will get to space on this mission. Elon Musk is, and what's funny is you need to recall that, the Falcons, I think they lost 3 or 4 before they had a successful flight. So, that was even in modern day, with all the technology we have. Spaceflight is hard. So whenever you see a rocket go up, give it a little applause, because it was a small victory for someone. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get a roll. We're going to go at a 45-degree angle this time. Maybe make a little bit gentler ascent.
So, I do not understand a heck of a lot about putting a rocket ship
Sure.
but I do know that there are particular angles that you have to honor, and there's,
Sure.
like the acceleration versus the deceleration versus the azimuth and the...
And the apoapse. So you can
how much does this require that you honor those things?
quite a bit, really. So you can actually see. I'm really not even watching here. I'm watching my nav ball right here, and this kind of crosshair is I've got pointed at 45, but you can see my actual vector is this green crosshair underneath it is slightly lower. So I actually boosted my thrust up to max because I saw that sliding, and that's what actually happened to us last time, is we slowly slid. So here's, once again, what happened here. So you can see our temperatures climbing here. Little concerned about that. We could try climbing more out of the atmosphere, although we're very much out of the atmosphere, so I'm surprised we're seeing atmospheric effects.
Yeah, I was gonna. So why? I mean, I'm sure.
I think it's because I'm going too fast.
Reason.
So we'll back off the speed.
So you're going actually faster the further away you get from the terrestrial
exactly.
body.
So you can see our parabolic arc here is terrible. We're going to back off the thrust to conserve that fuel. We don't have a ton left, but we're going to want to get to a nice angle here. Oops. All right. So you can see we're kind of still gaining lots of altitude. We've got lots of energy put into this flight so far. So when we get near this apoap, which is the peak of your arc, essentially, think of it like that, and periap would be the lowest point of our orbit, which we don't have yet because we don't have an orbit. Once we get up here, this is the point where it's going to be most efficient for us to do a tangent burn here. Basically, we're going to go trying to shoot off into space, and that's going to circularize that orbit a little. So we're going to give this some... We're going to chill that out a little bit, conserve some fuel. And I believe in this version of the game, so you can actually see the moon, which is so close yet so far for this flight. Yeah, there are mods that will make it such that, rocket engines tend not to be able to fire up, turn off, and there are actually mods that will enable that. But in this one, we're just going to cheat mode it. Okay, so one of the most important features of this game is...
Sorry, I was going to say, let's talk a little bit about... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Is the time warp, which you just saw me do a little bit, because space is big. Alright, so let's get out of here. We are ready for our burn. I should have positioned us better to begin with. Oh well, let's do it. So you can see us opening up that orbit. We kind of missed the apoap a little bit, but we're going to get this, I believe.
Now, as far as objectives go, how does the game actually keep track of whether you are accomplishing something that you set out to do? I mean, right? You mentioned that you can gather science from doing this,
which we can actually do now. If we can find it.
But so we spent a lot of time at the beginning planning our rocket, but I don't know that we, before we left the ground, decided on what the objective of our mission actually is.
So in Sandbox, your mission is to do whatever the heck you want. In the career mode, you will take missions, and it will tell you exactly what they want you to do. And if they say, I want you to send an unmanned sounding rocket to a orbit of 300,000 meters, then that's exactly what it wants you to do. If you send a Kerbal up, like I've just done, to 300,000 meters, you haven't completed the objective.
I see.
It wasn't unmanned like they wanted, and basically they will tell you specifically what they're looking for and what you need to do to complete it. So here we are in space, in orbit. Not a very high orbit, but in orbit nonetheless. So if we wanted to get real crazy, we could try to open this up to moon, although we don't really have a ton of fuel. We have a little bit in our second stage, but I don't know. So one of the things you can kind of do, another thing to, so we can set this as a target, and let's see if I can remember. So we can add a maneuver here, and really what this will let you do, this is a great thing for once you start really trying to, whoa, nope. No, that's not it. So I want to capture this orbit here. No, that's not going to do it. So you can set these targets, and basically, I forget exactly what I'm doing, to be honest. But
that is a lot of ellipses and stuff.
Yeah, basically what you're trying to do is get this sort of capture. So here's our closest approach. We want that to be right there. I don't know if we have the fuel for this. I don't think we have the fuel. 764 meters per second delta V. You know, we might be able to. We might be able to get him out there. I'm not sure we'd be able to get him back. Wondering if we should go for it.
But you could launch something else concurrently, right? Like, could you, now that you've got this rocket up, can you go back to the launch pad? And...
So I can go back right now to go back to the Space Center and launch something else and go get him. You can launch... I could just put him in a circular orbit and send something else up unmanned with, say, more fuel to refuel him if you had docking ports.
Like a missile?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it wouldn't impact him and explode.
I mean, to me, that would be like the ultimate. That would be like Robin Hood splitting his own arrow to like launch a rocket and then launch another rocket that hits the first rocket.
That hits the first rocket and bounces it higher. So you know what? We're gonna do it. We're good luck, Jebediah. Maybe we should have made this an unmanned probe, but whatever. We're not gonna save this. Let's be honest. So I've got T minus.
You're like the Hitler of Kerbal Space Program.
No, this is what space. There's no great power responsibility. You know, I don't know. We're going for it.
I like how the Kerbals are like little. I mean, I don't know. I'm probably not the first person to draw this comparison, but they're like little rabbids, like Ubisoft rabbids.
Yeah, I'm not really sure
what little idiot guys.
What their influence for the design was. I'm actually trying to remember. I think the pink is the target. I'm not sure. You know, the other thing that we won't actually be able to do is we can't really land on the moon because we did not really include a lander on this. But, you know what? Whatever. That's how it goes sometimes. So let's get us over there. Oh, I think that was our target of opportunity. Oh, man, I keep hitting the wrong button here. All right, so... I forget if it's the purple or blue. Oh man, turn the engine back on. Oh. Alright, well, you know what? We don't need that stage anymore. We're going. Oh, wait, turn the engine on. There we go. So here we go. You can see us counting down our Delta V. We're going. I don't know if we've got it in us here.
At this point, they'd probably be phoning home. And,
well, we didn't. So we also didn't pack a antenna, so he can't actually communicate with. Yeah, we don't have this. This is not happening.
This is like me going on a day trip and realizing, like, I forgot my lunch or something. Like, I didn't plan ahead very well.
Indeed. So I may very well have been I may have been needing to point at the blue. I honestly don't remember.
Out of curiosity, what would an antenna do you? I mean, does it really help you?
It allows you to communicate with the ground control. This is Major Tom.
But I mean, you are both the ground control and the pilot. So what need is there for communication?
In this one, mostly just to return science. In some of the mods I've seen, and I believe in the base too, if you have a probe, an unmanned probe, and you lose communication, you lose control. It is set on its orbit. So we're gonna... Hey, look, we got there's an interception. Okay, we need to set a new target. No, stop that. Cancel. Set target. Stop. Unset target. I want to remove this maneuver. I'm going to add a maneuver here such that I get back to mother base. Oh, that is way too... That is not going to do it. And we want to go a little bit shallower. I don't know if this will land us anywhere close to the spaceport. Probably not, but you know what? Them the brakes. What's this altitude? Oh, 5,000 meters. Well, yeah, that'll do it. Let's back that back out a little. 28,000 meters. Okay, good enough. Wait, are we at that maneuver node? Where are we at? Here we go. Let's go. Let's warp. So we're going to go out to deep space. I say deep space. It's not really that deep. But let's take a look. So here we are. A little bit further from the planet than we used to be. And you know what? Let's do... Nope, that was not what I wanted to do. And now I actually completely forget how to get back to EVA. It's a button. There we go. Okay. We're going to go out and we're going to get a crew report. We got an EVA report. Yep, there we go. We actually can't collect signs. I'm realizing now that you can take the report, but there's nothing to report on because there's no science in this game because we did the sandbox. But look, our guy can do it, and I'm really bad at the controls. You can actually detach. We're being pointed out in the chat that we were out of fuel earlier. So thank you for that on the previous stage. You can actually detach and sort of, he has that little jetpack thingy, but I am so bad at the controls, there was no way we'd ever get back to our command module. So we're just gonna pop back in here. Let's see if we can land this bad boy. We might not have enough fuel, but we're gonna make our best attempt here. Whoa, that was a little fast. We just went around the horn once or twice just for fun. Why not? All right, so. Once again, I've completely forgotten which target we're supposed to be aiming for, but we're going to do one of these. There's so much delta. No, that is definitely the wrong way.
I'm pretty impressed that this thing is still under power at this point, to be honest.
Yeah. We're going to die horribly. We're not going to make it back. But
in the chat, we were being told that you're doing it on the wrong side. Aim for the dark blue target.
Yep. Oop. And then I bumped the thing, and we're slowly sliding out of control.
Oh man, time to hit that detonate button. There is no hope for this.
What Kerbal? We never sent a Kerbal into space. Yeah. So I didn't have enough fuel. But I mean, again, that's one thing you really need to plan for when you're getting out there is having enough fuel and actually knowing which target to aim for. So there you have it. We're actually a little bit over time. So I just want to say Kerbal Space Program, ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite games. If you like, what I really love the most about this game is, I'm just kind of zooming out. You can see it here, asteroids or meteors, whatever. All of this is open to exploration. So what really caught me is even before the career mode, even before the science and research unlocking, was setting your own objectives and then going and achieving them. And this game is perfect for that, which, it's just like one of the strong suits that video gaming can do. And I feel like this game just embodies that to perfection. There's no guns. Like, you're not out there to like kill bros and press E to grieve. Like, you're just like, I'm going to go to the moon today. And so you just start building rockets and go to the moon.
And it seems like there are some really practical applications for the stuff that it teaches you. I mean, it's the same actual science that they use to launch real-life, honest-to-God rockets. Yeah,
for sure. And, the physics are less... Kerbal is very small compared to Earth, so it's easier in this game to get you there, et cetera, and so forth. But, at the end of the day, you might actually learn a thing or two. If you watch some videos on YouTube on how to do it, if you kind of go... They do have some tutorials that'll kind of teach you how to get into space, how to get back, et cetera, and so forth. If you really want to get down and dirty, is this coming back to get me? I hope not. You bust out the pencil and the pad of paper and start doing your calculations for how much mass you want, how much delta V you'll need, et cetera, and so forth. And, it's really great. And you can actually add mods.
I'm pretty impressed. Even the people who are showing up in the chat to join us, they have a lot of knowledge about this. I get the feeling like there is a really broad community of Kerbal Space Program aficionados who can probably, if you're not sure about how to do something, they'll be like, you know what, you need to tweak your azimuth by about 36.2 degrees and adjust your thrust capacitor by 16%. I think that'll do it for you.
Yeah, and there's even what was their name? I think they're Kerbal University or something. Different, you can take classes. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. There's a huge community for this, huge mod community. I wish it wasn't night so we could see, but we'll just silhouette with the moon there in the background. It's a really great game. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm not good at it. believe me, I'm terrible compared to some of these people, but I still find it to be just absolutely mesmerizing. Being a kind of a space nut myself, yeah, Kerbal Space Program.
How about that?
You should check it out. Highly recommend it. It's probably on sale in the Steam sale right now. I don't know if it is. We should have checked that before, but go find out. It's definitely worth whatever the price they're asking for it. Look how happy JEBEDIah is.
There's also a free demo for Kerbal Space Program, so if you're watching this for the first time and have not played it yourself, it looks like it is currently, as of the 30th of November 2015, it is on sale 40% off, $23.99 as opposed to $39.99. So you've got about 13 hours before that sale price ends, so good luck to you.
So with that, we'll just leave JEBEDIah spinning off into space, loving it, living the dream. Anyway, so thank you for joining us. I don't know if I'll be on the Game of the Year show coming up, but I do want to say, if I am on our audio podcast, which you should all check out over at GameByteShow.com, you might hear me talking about this game a little bit, because it actually did release this year.
It's like Minecraft released last year, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It was in early access for a long time, but it was a really beautiful way that they did early access, and it started off fun, and it just got better and better as they went. So kudos to those guys for managing to release such an amazing game. Really great developer studio. This is their one thing they've done. It's definitely worth checking out. I think you should pay money for this. You should wait till after the sale to buy it so they get more money. So thank you for joining us once again. If you're here on Twitch, hit the follow, hit the like button. We like to show off mini games, maybe some more Kerbal Space Program in the future. I don't know. I'd love to get back into it, but if you want to check out our archives, head over to youtube.com/GameByteShow. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can similarly head over to twitch.tv/GameByteShow. Follow us there, like us on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube. Head over to GameByteShow.com, subscribe to our RSS feed, hit us up on iTunes. You can find us everywhere. We record an audio podcast twice a week, once with the games we've been playing, once with news and new releases that are notable for the week. So
it's true.
You should join us.
We're busy.
You should join us. You should also join us in the social media sphere. You can find everyone over at GameByteShow over on Twitter. That will actually show up to everybody's feed that's on the podcast. If you want to just find me, myself, I am at red_I. And Jeremy?
I am at Jeremy_Lamont. Mm-hmm. You can also find our podcasting compatriots Legrand at LEGRANDE and Dale at Count_Elmdor.
All right, so that's going to do it for us for this week, for tonight. So join us again next time, and happy sailing out in the vast verse of Kerbal.
Have a good one. Thanks for joining us.